Ladies and gentlemen, Mitt Romney has sided with Joseph Biden. Now, he sided with Democrats. This is not surprising, considering that John McCain, Paul Ryan, even people like Trey Gowdy, there are Republicans who play both sides of the fence. Lindsey Graham is somewhat like that, although Lindsey Graham is on Trump's team. You have a situation where there are people within the Republican Party who benefit greatly if Trump is accused of working with Russia to hack the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated while giving Clinton the popular vote, and at the same time losing the Democrats' swing states because of Facebook ads that nobody saw. So, Mitt Romney just today, a couple hours back, let's look at the tweet. So this is, Romney calls for facts to come out after Ukraine. Okay, story. So, quote, if the president asked or pressured Ukraine's president to investigate his political rival, either directly or through his personal attorney, it would be troubling in the extreme. In the extreme, it would be troubling. Critical for the facts to come out. Notice he did not say it would be against the law. Notice he didn't say it would be impeachable. Notice he didn't say that they did the exact same thing to him, to President Trump, but worse. They utilized the gossip from Alexander Downer, who was tied to the Clinton Foundation. So what they did was worse. They started a 3-year-long investigation based on a dossier purchased by Clinton with money funneled through her law firm. What they did was worse. They accused Trump without evidence, how they love to say without evidence, of working with Russia to hack the DNC to inform the country of corruption within the Democratic Party. And they did so, ladies and gentlemen, utilizing information that all linked to Clinton in some way, shape, or form. Andrew McCabe, his wife, received close to $700,000 from Clinton allies in Virginia. He just happened to eventually investigate Clinton. They say, well, how was he to know? Yeah, the Clintons are always one step ahead or of another major controversy or circumventing the law somehow. So, and then he set up and framed Michael Flynn, Andrew McCabe did, who will be indicted any week now. Any day, week. The IG report's coming out. Clinton is going to run again. As you can see, I have a cutout of the Golden Moo and President Trump. I'm going to try to fit as much as I can on this backdrop. But, ladies and gentlemen, you have a situation where Mitt Romney benefits greatly. The establishment Republicans do not want, they absolutely do not want Trump to succeed to the point where they become irrelevant. They don't want to become irrelevant, but yet they already are. A person like Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan or even Trey Gowdy or even Lindsey Graham, that type of Republican will never again win a presidential election, ever. The John Kasichs of the world ain't going to ever win another presidential election. It'll never happen. Because President Trump has changed the presidency forever. Even the Democrats have to change a little bit. Now, with Clinton, a little bit different story. You're talking about two people who essentially run the Democratic Party. I explained today, or yesterday, if you read this, or if you watch this, check out my 2 segments prior to this one. Congressman Devin Nunes basically said that Biden's campaign is done. And the reason is he's not going to be able to get away from this scandal. He's not going to be able to get away from this. And it doesn't matter if Mitt Romney sides. So Mitt Romney is the good Republican. He's the good Republican. He's the Republican that Democrats like. Because they say, oh, well, it's true that Joe Biden was bragging about $1 billion dangled in front of the Ukrainian president. And then a prosecutor was fired. And then Biden bragged about that. However, it wasn't Trump who was uncouth and rude and crude and broke laws, but we can't name which law, but he shouldn't have done so. And this story regarding Biden was spread in 2016. Devin Nunes talked about that. It was spread in 2015, 2016, the issues with the Ukraine and Biden. That was one of the ways that Clinton got him not to run, saying, hey, you know what, you have this controversy, and it's not like you're like, Bill and I, and you can't just, you don't eat controversy for breakfast. What you do is you fight cornflakes, and you tell stories about Cocoa Puffs and, grape nuts. You're very good at defeating Wheaties and Special K, but when it comes to actually getting 1% in Iowa, not going to happen. So, Biden's campaign likely coming to an end thanks to Clinton-linked Ukrainian story. They are so... Look, the Democratic Party will not win with... Clinton is going... It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when she runs. It's a point right now where Biden is no longer a viable candidate. Biden is no longer a viable candidate. He's no longer a viable candidate. Okay, the polls that are the same skewed, nonsensical polls that said that Clinton would win by 20%. She had double-digit leads at this point in 2015, and nobody was touching her. She had a double-digit lead over Bernie Sanders, who didn't have enough courage to just say, hey, you know what, Debbie Wasserman Schultz cheated me. And he then fomented the same nonsense. But ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, it helps Mitt Romney. It helps people like Paul Ryan, who no longer there. But the new breed of Republicans, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Mark Meadows, Doug Collins, Congressman Devin Nunes, John Radcliffe. You're talking about people who are more of the Trump-style Republicans. They're going to tell you exactly how they feel. They're not going to mince words. They're going to go up against unelected officials, intelligence chiefs that overstep their boundaries. Never before. I remember like in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, never before did the intelligence quote-unquote community. What they mean by that is just intelligence chiefs. Never before were these people highly partisan. They always gravitated towards whoever was in power, and that's it. They were never like helping form public debate. It was like they were like a referee in football or an umpire in baseball. The less you know of the referee or ump, the better. Okay? Similar to an offensive lineman. You don't want to know, because there's not really much you can, it's either a holding or a bad call. You just don't want to know they're there. You just want them to do their job, and if they do their job, and you don't ever hear from them, that means they're doing a great job. Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Strzok, McCabe went after a political rival of Clinton. They did not do so for national security. Facebook ads are not national security. And no, the election wasn't interfered with. Try to find an article from a pollster or from a pundit or from an expert or from a journalist that said Clinton could lose because of Facebook ads. That never, ever, ever, ever happened. Nobody saw those Facebook ads, and they have contradictory propaganda spins. They won the popular vote, yet they lost swing states because of Facebook ads? How does that work? Which ones? So Mitt Romney, if he says, well, you know what, it's not, to a person like Mitt Romney, it's not the $1 billion. See, they're accusing Trump of what Biden actually did. They're accusing Trump of what Biden actually did. Biden actually, what he did was threaten to withhold $1 billion until a prosecutor was fired, and that prosecutor just happened to be looking at a corruption probe on the corporation where his son was a board member of. Now people say, that's absurd. There's no conflict of interest there, just like there's no conflict of interest with Andrew McCabe and CrowdStrike and the Steele dossier and every other major overt conflict of interest with Democrats. They say, well, that prosecutor was extremely corrupt. And nobody liked him. And in fact, it was very good that Biden was telling the Ukrainians to fire the man. That's not the point. That's not the point. Whether or not the prosecutor was good or bad is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is you have the vice president bragging and actually saying that President Obama was going to back him up. So it's just really interesting how this story about Biden comes out, and it just happens to be the same story that Clinton was using to get Biden not to run in 2016. In 2016, maybe he wanted to be president. Maybe. But here, Trump has reportedly accused of pressuring Zelensky to work with his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, in investigating Hunter Biden. Oh my God. If there was actually some wrongdoing there, what's the problem? They investigated Trump, a political rival. They went after Trump with every single thing they had, but they pretend it was under the pretext of saying, oh, well, you know, this is the United States government, and we had intelligence, and they used information from British intelligence agencies. They used information from the Steele dossier. They signed off on FISA warrants. We're going to find the IG report coming out. They did all of this they did all of these dirty, underhanded things under the guise of national security against a specific political rival. What they did to Trump is everything they accused Trump of doing to them. It's projection on a grandiose scale. And if you think for 1 second that Hillary Clinton is going to fundraise for Elizabeth Warren, that ain't going to happen. I don't care if Clinton runs tomorrow or March 1st, 2 days or 1 day before Super Tuesday of 2020. I don't care when. It's not if, it's when Clinton runs. And she will easily become the nominee because there is no Democratic Party. It's an extension of two people. I keep telling people that. You think for 1 second, and people were like, why are you yelling? I'm yelling because it's like, do you think for 1 second a person who has an unbridled quest for political influence, not seen since Attila the Hun, a person who barely lost by 70,000 votes or so, can raise money like at the drop of a hat, $1 billion, no problem. She'll raise $2 billion, so will Trump. That's another reason Trump will win easily. I don't know, easily, could be close, whatever. Trump's going to win. Clinton is going to run again. The media is going to say she's the front runner again. The media is going to say she's going to win the election again. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. Then Trump's going to win. Then the Democrats and media are going to say, oh my God, something horrible happened. They cheated. And this is, and in doing so, the Democratic Party is going to be completely and utterly obliterated. Mazel tov. Fantastic news. Couldn't happen to a better political party. You're talking about a group, you're talking about a political entity, a machine that would rather shove the country into a new Cold War than accept that it cheated one of its own candidates in a primary. That's sinister. That's nefarious. You talk about how the world suffered from a Cold War for 50 years and how they would willingly throw the country into that type of thing again, simply because they lost. This nasty type of politics is Clinton-esque. This is how they roll. This is how the golden moo-moo rolls. And you know what? More power to her. Let's do it. Let's get the show on the road. Let's go. Enough of the AFC Championship and NFC, Eastern Conference, Western. Let's get to the championship game. Trump versus Clinton 2. Trump's going to win. But, like I said, when they force people to fall in line again, everything I've ever said about the Democratic Party will be vindicated. It already has been, but it's already been vindicated. But give me your thoughts below. Read my writing in the Federalist below in the pinned comment, the Daily Caller, the Jerusalem Post, the Huffington Post. It's all below in the pinned comment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. If you're into sports, subscribe to my sports channel. Let's get that to 2,000 to 3,000 subs, and we'll start providing some content there. If you want to support my voice long-term, my Patreon link is below in the pinned comment. People, Mitt Romney benefits greatly by promoting the same nonsense that was promoted from Russia. Now it's Ukraine. Who knows? It might be Martians from another planet next time. But Mitt Romney benefits because you're talking about essentially a fossil. The Trey Gowdies of the world are dinosaurs. And I say Trey Gowdy, even though he kind of straddles the fence, the Ted Cruz, the Marco Rubios, these people, the new generation of Republicans are Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Doug Collins, Congressman Devin Nunes. These are the new Republicans. And there will never be an old school type of Republican that kind of tries to straddle the fence. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so very much.